Hello everybody and welcome to another video. In today's video we're going to take a look at Octoprint and see what it might take to produce a product which might be comparable in value while simplifying the entire process. Now some of you may know I was sent the Corally Wi-Fi box a while ago and was very disappointed with the results. And while I didn't like the resulting product, I do believe that there's room for something different in this space. So if you're a company looking to do something which is similar, now's the time to take notes because I will be looking for these features when doing another review. As always, what you see here represents my own opinions and no money has exchanged hands. So to start things off, let's discuss what Octoprint is and what people are actually using it for. Since Octoprint has a very creative user base, there's actually quite a few plugins which add additional functionality to its core mechanism. Its primary use is to be able to remotely control your 3D printer while providing important information on the print's progress. It's an open source community which I found extremely supportive to newcomers while continuously innovating. Being open source, everything is very transparent from the source code to the plugins. It's important to note that Octoprint does use Linux, so getting used to using typed in commands will make the transition easier. So people obviously use Octoprint to start, monitor, stop their printers. However, people also use this to create time lapses, integrate with 3D design, collections, and much more. The main question is whether or not a company wishes to compete or work with Octoprint itself. If they want to compete, then they'll need to create something which is fundamentally better for mass consumption while enabling the user maximum control. Creating a walled garden isn't the proper approach in this case. Alternatively, they could simply pre-install Octoprint on something which is similar to the Raspberry Pi while providing resources to help new time users. Both are valid approaches but require completely different implementations. For the remainder of this video, I will be focusing on what would be needed to create a competitive product, since both Octoprint and products would benefit the most from this information. As mentioned previously, transparency and giving the customer as much control as possible is paramount. A user should always be able to view the source code of a product, since this makes creating plugins easier for developers and has the added benefit of increasing functionality with a limited amount of resources. This also allows the community to submit information regarding vulnerabilities, further simplifying how a company can address issues as they arise. Community-style plugins should definitely be an option, with verified plugins being clearly marked. G-code slicing should be done using the user's computer, since they'll better be able to leverage the resources that they have on that machine, in turn freeing up resources on the printing device. For certain devices, a printing queue option should be enabled, since these machines are designed to work in a production setting. In those cases, having an option to pause once a print is completed or move on to the next print would help expand the device's functionality. A feature which is currently missing in the Octoprint Raspberry Pi is the ability to connect multiple printers simultaneously and control them within the same interface. While the Raspberry Pi does have the potential to do so, it isn't currently a feature which is supported officially. This would make the product more targeted towards small businesses and printing farms and could be a more affordable option for these companies. I would consider an offline mode to be essential to any implementation, since this helps prevent security issues from arising and could also increase the user base further. Companies who are using machines in a professional setting would most likely find this to be a requirement for security reasons. The ability to disable Wi-Fi connections, if it's implemented with a physical button, would also be preferred. Additionally, a secured SSH connection could be integrated by default, requiring a custom password by the user. In order to prevent future issues, I would also recommend providing the user upon purchase with a USB key that has the default installer and password information. Doing this will allow the user to return everything to its default settings should an issue arise. Proper documentation on how to connect to the devices, updating, installing plugins, and making changes to password changes will be essential to a positive user experience. If a company decides to undertake this project, I would recommend that they work with camera manufacturers, since there are issues with compatibility within the Octoprint ecosystem. I would like to see software updates for the camera companies to enable time-lapse options via connection through USB. I can confirm that Sony does have a limitation which causes a timeout after the 30-minute mark, and this is often an issue for longer prints. Now that we've gotten the firmware and software out of the way, let's begin discussing some hardware requirements. As mentioned previously, I would have a monitor connection available along with multiple USB ports. 2 of these should be used for keyboard and mouse for diagnostic purposes, but additional ones for multiple printers would also be a necessity. Having the option to attach a camera and a USB stick for file transfer and firmware updates is always an asset. A unique feature would be to enable the connection of multiple printers together. So in this case, a minimum of 6 USB ports would be needed. However, the manufacturer could instead implement support for a USB hub, which in turn would reduce the manufacturing costs further. Let's not forget the Wi-Fi connection if it's implemented. This feature could be an attachment which could be added as an add-on product, or have a physical switch which in turn could be turned on and off. I personally prefer a physical switch on a Wi-Fi connection because then I'm certain that it's been deactivated. So with all this information, I do hope to see similar products in the future. If some of these features are implemented within Octoprint, or whether a company creates a custom physical device, only time will tell. My main hope with this video is to provide companies with a better understanding of what people may like to see in the future. If you have your own recommendation, I would encourage you to post a comment below so that the companies can take this into consideration in the future. Also, for those of you who actually want to use this video as a guide, keep in mind that I will be posting the transcript on my main website to make it easier to follow along. Alternatively, please feel free to slow down the video by hitting the gear icon on the bottom right hand corner of your screen to change the speed settings. If you want to support this channel, please feel free to check out some of the merch on my website. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you guys soon. Thank you and take care.